And I've had to catch myself reminding myself that I need to show myself some grace and some mercy, just because it's a process, you know. And I've even for the mental side, where I find myself comparing myself to some of my athletes. You know, I talked about my athletes who have had these seemingly perfect recoveries, right? 9, 10 months, they're back to playing again. They passed every test. Hey guys, this video is going to be a little bit different than some of the other ones I've made so far. I'm currently 7 weeks post-op today, but I'm not going to really talking about kind of the physical aspect of things I can do right now. I'm actually going to do an 8-week follow-up visit, just so I can share more videos about exercise that I'm doing and what I'm doing in my rehab. But what I do want to talk about is more so the mental side of recovery that I feel like is very misunderstood, or perhaps not even addressed when it comes to ACL rehab, or any lengthy rehab for that measure in physical therapy. And it's something I've become much more aware about. It's something I've always been cognizant of, because I've been through it already for my right side, but this was over a decade ago at this point. And now, you know, just being 7 weeks post-op, and, you know, I have a couple patients who are really close in their surgery dates. I had one girl who's 5 days after me. I have another girl who's 2 weeks after me, and just, you know, having conversation with them, it's just something that I've maybe become even more aware about as I'm going through my own rehab at this point in time. And to be honest, you know, I say it all the time, but going through ACL rehab truly does suck. It's very long, it's very lengthy. It's just a big grind for many months. You talk about some people have complications, and, you know, their rehab can go 15, 16, even months, and even longer than that. And, you know, some people are lucky enough to have just a very straightforward recovery of 9 to 10 months, and it's kind of just every box is check, and you kind of just keep rolling, and no real problems. But that's not the case for every single person. And, you know, I was talking to one of my athletes, and she was talking about how we're sharing about stories of especially the early post-op phase, and having to need help with everything. And that's all the way down to for me, asking my wife to help me to get into the shower so I can sit and shower, and making sure I yell for her to get out of the shower comfortably. Getting her help to even change, because I couldn't weight bear on my left side without my brace on. But when you get out of the shower, you don't have the brace on. Just having to put on, you know, clothes, boxers, shorts, or underwear, whatever you want to call it, and socks. You know, so many things that you just need help with. You know, my wife had to walk me to my car to make sure, you know, if I had to hold anything, I couldn't even hold anything. Just things like that, where it just becomes very mentally draining. And then you tack on having to wear the brace for me, luckily I was only 3 weeks, but some people are in the brace for 6 weeks, and having this thing on your leg that's just like dragging your leg down is very mentally draining as well. And I think I really started to really think about this when one of my girls was sharing how, you know, she's a high school girl, and she was like, she needed her mom's help to shower and bathe. And she said she was just sitting there in the tub, and she was like, I was just crying. I just started crying, because she just felt so hopeless, right? Or helpless, because she was like, my mom had helped me do everything, getting into the tub, out of the tub. And this is just a small sample of just what it's like to go through this rehab process. And I've had to catch myself reminding myself that I need to show myself some grace and some mercy, just because it's a process, you know. And I've even for the mental side, where I find myself comparing myself to some of my athletes. You know, I talked about my athletes who have had these seemingly perfect recoveries, right? 9, 10 months, they're back to playing again. They passed every test. And for me, I'm like, I have all these videos on my phone. I look back, and one of my athletes was, you know, squatting at 8 weeks, no problem, you know, with a bar behind their back. And I'm 7 weeks post-op, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do that in a couple weeks. I just started squatting recently without any real issues, but I still have kind of this persistent tightness in the front of my shin. And just reminding myself that I cannot compare myself to anybody, for that matter, not even the girls who are 5 days and 14 days after me. This is my own rehab process, and I again find myself reminding my athletes, like, this is your rehab process. Like, stop comparing yourself to me. Don't compare yourself to anyone else, any of your friends, because a lot of times when you go through this rehab process, A friend might reach out and tell you like, oh yeah, I jogged at 12 weeks. I did this at 16 weeks, whatever it is. And then you find yourself trying to compare yourself to that standard. And it becomes very unhealthy. So again, this is just maybe a reminder for myself and for you guys as clinicians, making sure you allow yourself to have an open door policy for your athletes, for your patients. Tell them to make sure they tell you when they're frustrated, because I do think it's important for you to recognize that as a clinician. It's something I make sure I tell my athletes, like, if you're frustrated, I want to know. I want to know how I can help. Maybe it's having a conversation with the parent. Maybe the parent is asking too much about the knee, because a lot of times you need some space to just not think about the knee, you know, just hang out with your friends or just have a day to not think about rehab. It's important to take these days off for even not just physically, but also mentally as well. So it allows you to just open the door for conversation. It creates a stronger bond. It creates a more trusting relationship between you as a clinician and the patient. And if you're the patient, make sure you are honest with your clinician, with physio, PT, AT, whatever it is. Make sure they understand that they should be helping the mental side of recovery just as much as the physical side. You know, it's something, again, I've recently just become more cognizant of, because I'm going through it myself. And you know, I hope that this video just is able to shed some light on the mental side of recovery, because it's something I'm very cognizant of. It's something I continue to be cognizant of, and I want to shed light on this topic that I feel like is not really talked about enough. So I hope you guys find this video helpful. It's a little bit more of a different feel, I guess, than some of my other videos. But it is a topic that is extremely important and needs to be talked about. And it's, if you stem all the beyond that to like the really, really late stage, this is why we give people the ACL RSI. You know, that test is meant to bring to light some of the fears that people have about going back to sport. Right now, my frustrations are with, you know, my knee still feeling a little bit tight, you know, not being able to lift heavier weights and things of that nature. But later phase is like, oh, I'm frustrated with not being able to pass, or I'm still scared of X, Y, and Z for whatever sport it is for your patients. That's why we give these things, because this mental side is not just for, you know, 1 month post-op, 2 months post-op. It goes all the way back to 9, 10, 11, 12 months post-op. This is why you need to look at the physical and the mental side of recovery. So I hope you guys find this video helpful. Please feel free to leave any comments below, and I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for watching today's video. Please feel free to like and subscribe and share it on your social media platforms. If you're interested, I have started an ACL Mastermind group, which is a growing library of content centered around ACL rehab. It has exercises ranging from immediate post-op to late-stage sport-specific movements and everything in between. It's a growing library and currently holds over 250 videos. There's content centered around assessments, movement breakdowns, exercise breakdowns, case studies, and a whole lot more. You also gain access to a private forum where you can engage with like-minded people, ask questions, share research articles, and share resources. If you're interested, please feel free to click the link below. Thank you for watching.